All right, so the goal here is to take an old mic stand with a boom on it and turn it into something that I can use for mics, cameras, and even lights. So that's essentially what I did. I have an old mic stand from, oh, I don't know, I've had it for about 30 or so years. I mean, I got it when I was very, very much younger, starting out in bands. It came from somewhere, old steel construction, chrome, and all of that. So I'm one of these people that I like to repurpose older stuff. It's not that I don't have new, and you'll see some of the newest stands that I have. They're okay. But, you know, in this case, I like where it is. It fits the area. It's a little tight for space, and you'll see in here. So I'm going to take this. We're going to take this old stand. I'm going to show you what I did. We're just going to kind of clean it up, get it going again, put a few adapters on it, and I'm going to hang some of my cameras on it. So I got like this one here, which is in a cage, which you'll see more. And then I have the adaptable bayonet style regular camera mount. But I also put other cameras on. Like I have a whole bunch of, got a couple of these. I got another one that I may use when I get my new one, when I get in my new cell phone. I may even use that. So I've got two of these, Samsung. So I use a number of things. And what's nice about the lighter weight cameras, and this has got a cage on it, so does that one, but the cages come off real quick. So that's what we're going to do in this episode. Part of what I do with the AV, the audio-visual stuff here in Arch's Garage or Arch's T&A, which is really more about the, you know, sort of the behind the scenes. What do you do with all this equipment, and how do you save some money, and what is the benefit of it, if there is a benefit? Or sometimes these are just projects where you see stuff, you pick it up cheap, swap meet, or somebody gives it to you, whatever. Big Mike gave me this really cool old light. You know, this is old film gear, some of it. It comes from, you know, the old audio and film kind of stuff. You can buy a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff goes, you know, real cheap. And there's the air compressor. Let's get started on this video. I'll see you guys in a bit. I always love repurposing things. So this is the boom section, and this is the bass. And it had been missing the rubber feet. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. They're pretty close to being the right height. See these little bumpers there, too? I was shoving things underneath it. It's been rocking and rolling. That floor isn't really that flat where I have to put it. Sort of right back there. But it's nice to repurpose stuff, especially when trying to hold up a big camera like that. We'll get a closer look at that later. Next, while this is kind of setting up, we'll go to this. And I have it fully extended. And just to kind of help out, you know, I'm using that, an old rotor. It's kind of heavy like that. There's a thread that was a little damaged over here. We'll take a look at that later, but I cut it off, and we're going to smooth that down. We'll get this all cleaned up while I'm waiting for that to dry. I did use some of the RTV that I had left over. I still have like 3/4 of a tube or so of the high temp, and it's getting old. You know, so I don't use it that often, not as often as I use the regular RTV. I'm going to let it set up a little bit more, and then we'll put it down on all 3s, or all 6s, I guess, on a flat spot and leave it be while I polish the rest of it. I like to repurpose stuff. It fits nice over the desk. It's great if I want to get in over here. Of course, if I don't want to use that stand, that boom is really more for a mic, but you don't really need it. Or that stand over there, which is not as good as this stand. Yeah, she's nice and clean now. It was really filthy. And then at some point, I want to get to this. Big Mike gave me this thing. We're going to clean this thing up. That thing is so cool. Look at the way it's built, right? I just love that. Nice cast iron. These are the crinkle finish. I want to get some of that. That black crinkle, actual real crinkle finish. So I'm using a little bit of Scotch-Brite. And also what I'm doing is some phosphoric acid and just some heavy rubbing compound mixed together in here with that little bit of Scotch-Brite, and just back and forth, kind of rubbing it on also with a towel, and we'll let it sit for a little bit too. This is kind of hold it in place, give me a little bit more bite, hold it on there. It's getting cleaner. This one was really rusty. This will come out nice. That will come out nice. We'll take it apart later. It's kind of tight. All right, last pass. And then I'll start cleaning up and we'll wipe it off. But this is going to be the worst, for sure. I put a little bit more phospho and a little bit more rubbing compound in that little container. And yeah, I think some of this isn't going to come up. Like, you could spray this rod black, but, you know, you don't really see it. I think we'll hit it with some wax too, just to protect it so it doesn't get worse. And then I can always come back another time if I really feel like it. Like, this is the bottom, you wouldn't even see this. But the bottom is worse, probably because the humidity sort of hangs on it. The dry dust doesn't sit on it. And we'll kind of let that dry on there. And then I'll wipe it with a wet rag, just to wipe off the excess, and then I'll try to polish it. I'll buff it with a dry rag. And then I'll take this off in a little bit. Let it sit till it dries.
20 minutes later.
So I did finish up a little bit of Super Clean's all wheel cleaner. That seems to work really well on a lot of things. It is an acid, but it's a cleaner as well. And this got better, but there's a lot of damage. You can't really see it, but there is a lot of damage to it. You know, it's the chrome is gone. So I'm going to throw some clear on it. I threw some clear on the base. Base is pretty clean, but it's not like 100%. But, you know, it got super clean. This, I can see the chrome is a little bit beat, but still in good shape overall. So I think we'll throw some the Teflon. Yeah, I'll show you. Where is it? You know, some of this old Teflon truck wax, car wax. It's got Teflon on it. That'll be fine, right? That'll be good. So we'll do that there. I clean this up a little bit. I also clean this up with Super Clean degreaser, and then I hit it with the acid, and I just wiped it out. So that's good. And I got some damage to this thread. So before I wax it, there's damage on that upper course. It goes in the bottom. So I want to make sure that that's going to be okay. So I'm just going to buff it down a little bit on something. I don't know if I'm going to do it on. I can see it actually. It's got crap in there too. So I want to clean that up. And I think one of these. Yeah. Is it this side? Yeah, this side. A thread came off. Same here, I think, maybe. Oh, yeah. So I just want to buff those up. I don't know if I want to use this. I want to use something maybe a little bit like 100 and something grit, and I'll whiz that up, and then I'll wax them, and I can clear coat this now though. I'll do like one side, let it tack up, flip it over, and we'll be back. Yeah, a little bit of this, just a touch. That's 120 grit, half round file. I did that side. And I just want to make sure that the starting course is okay. I'll put just a touch of lithium grease on it when I go to assemble it. Yeah, she went right in. Yeah, that's beautiful. And then the last one, yeah, you gotta be careful. So that's good, and I don't feel anything, and there's no burrs in it. It's a little sharp, but it's okay. And the last one is this guy. So that one is definitely screwed up. And there's burrs inside of it. I think a section broke off of it. Look at how much threads this one has. And then you can see not much left there. You can see the crap inside. I'll take my half round. think that's better. I'll go test it, but it should be good.
The next morning.
All right, it's the next day. I like these just because of the way it fit. It just seemed like it was a better deal. Let's turn this little light on. These are the other ones that I had. Now I can buy this stuff. Yeah, put it on the list of a million things that I already have on my list. These would have fit nice, but when I laid it down, it was very rubbery. It would move a lot, and it was definitely much higher than that. But listen, it's still an option. I really like the way these fit, and they were wide, and it gave a nice wide surface. They were, pretty much new. These are just grommets for passing cables through, like cars and substrates, chassis. So let's put it together because I need it, and it's all dry. So I went over everything else. I'll put a little bit of white grease on these threads, just a little bit. You could probably even put the wax on it. Yeah. Well, that's the upper piece, the riser. And this is the lower. Yeah, that'll protect it. That's as good as it's going to get. This tag was up at the top, so this handful short of thread goes down here. And I just wanted to show you. So this part here got cleared all the way through, and it looks pretty good. That rusty area there is now pretty much gone. I think that was a good idea. So I used the Ulanzi up here and an adapter with the ring to tighten it. So that way you can really align it. And this just grabs the camera shoe, depending on what kind of shoe you use. And let me show you the setup real quick. So both cameras are using a cage. So the one that's we're recording with has got a half cage. This is a full cage on my AG-6000. This is actually, I reprogrammed this. It's firmware to be, I think it's a 6001. So this grabs the cage here, and you just sort of tighten it up, and you can position it anywhere you want. I kind of like that. This will support a heavy camera like that with the extra weight on the bottom. And I like the Rust-Oleum engine enamel, 600 degree. You can get it in gloss and you can get it in satin. I spray it more like a satin. I stand back, very light coat. It dries really fast, and it's oil and gas resistant, chemical resistant once it's cured. It dries to the touch so you can work it very quickly. But then the heat really cures it, or time. And I used to use some different automotive clears and stuff, and I just said, you know what? That one works really good, so why get crazy with it? How many different chemicals and sprays do I need? So I'm just going to we'll assemble it now. Let's use up what little bit I have of this white lithium. Got a little bit left in here. Try and use it up. Well, let's see if we got this right. Yeah, she's going in. Oh, yeah. That's tight. Oh, yeah, that's tight, fellas. All right, let's go on the floor. See you guys in a minute. So we're going to put just a little bit of, again, just a little bit. Yeah, that's good. And then this guy, you can see the way it goes. It's got that flange, in case you guys don't know. And it's sort of back cut, tapered, and then this side isn't. So the taper should go in here, into this thing. And this is the top. So it should really go in there. And as you tighten it, it tightens against that collar that's in there. So we'll put a little bit more. You could use regular grease too. This dries, so on there, we'll wipe it all up. Now, I'm going to slide this on. Yeah, we'll go like this so it doesn't fall out. And we can get it started. Yeah. it started. So I assembled this because it's just easy to do it on the bench. Now let's see if it'll go in. Yep. Now, mine's up pretty high. Yeah, that's good. Still a little wobbly, but she's really extended high, so it's going to be a little wobbly. I'll retighten it. Let's go put a camera on it, and let's see what it looks like. We'll get from the top, too. Well, as I often like to say, what a difference a day can make. And we could see, so it can actually go up higher, and of course this can go up higher, but it's close to the setting I need at the bench. Now I'm usually standing about here at the bench, so unless I bend my head over, I generally don't hit a camera that's up there. We're going to put the big one on in a minute. We're going to set it up so that I can get to work because I've got stuff to do. But you can see, right, and even with the bigger camera, and it will bounce a little bit, but you know, once it stops, it's fine. It can't topple over with that extra bit of heavy rotor, brake rotor down there. It's stable, it's simple, it's built really well. Everything here is made out of heavy steel, and you could see how tall it can be. And this riser can go up a little higher. In fact, I should put a tape mark on it. That's not a bad idea. Put like a little tape around it. I think it had penetrated in about 6 inches originally is where I had it. But before I took it apart, I just wrapped some tape around it. And it turns out that's almost exactly 6 inches. It's like 5 7/8. So just by eye, I can tell you that I know I'm getting good penetration. It could probably come up, or come up a little bit higher, another inch or so. You could probably get about 4 inches to 5 inches without any issue. But just by eye. And the tape is just a reference mark, so I can put it back, put everything back the way I like it for this bench. And if I want to readjust it or do something over on the other bench, you might want to take, as like a gaffer, you want to check what you're doing anyway. So if you're changing your setup, now I'm going to have to readjust this rod over here because I've moved it now from fooling around with it and working with it. But I'll reset this up, square the camera up. And one of the weird things about like this table here, because of these sections in here, because it's really a very high performance floor mat from industrial commercial, and it works really well on this table for a lot of the chemicals and stuff that get on it. It protects the surface, but it's got these stripes, and what I'll do is I'll square the camera up and I'll align it to the stripes, because if the stripes were crooked and you're looking down at it with the camera, you can't reverse the image. It's disturbing. Sometimes it's nice to have no pattern, so you could put something on top of this as well. But that actually helps me to align the camera so everything looks square, everything looks straight. And if I reverse the image, where I'm here or on the other side or what have you, because, generally the camera is looking down this way. And so really the normal view would be from here, from this area. That would be your normal view. And I can't move the camera, but I can move the image. And if everything is square, it's not a problem. All right, let's finish this up. Let's set this thing up. Let's get the camera on it, get it set, ready for me to do my next job, and we'll close this video out. So you can see if I'm working on something here, the camera is pretty square. I mean, it could be a little bit more square, but this is the zoom lens, but it's all the way out. So now I'm gonna work on this part here, and I can flip the image and it's acceptable. Okay, the lines down here, or you can see them up here, they're fairly straight. And if I really, sometimes what I'll do is I'll put some pieces of tape or whatever so I can stay in the center of the shot, because when you're working on things, you tend to wander. Another thing that I do as a mechanic is I tend to pull everything closer, so it starts to do this and get out of the shot, and I can put some tape down or whatever I want just to kind of keep me in focus. But I think this is a success. You might ask, why is the camera on a stand like this? One, it's cheap. Two, because I don't have really room for the tripod. 3, you might say, why don't I make a rig that mounts to the table? I do want to make a rig that mounts to the table, but I don't want it always in my way. And one of the reasons for that is when I bang on the table, notice something's happening to the image. You know, we bang, we're mechanics, we're banging, right? Banging on the table. And I've seen this with other mechanics, you know, shops that have the camera mounted or sitting with a tripod on top of the bench, and they start banging, the image goes like crazy. So once this camera settles in, you know, granted it's not super rigid, but it works and it's movable. Once it settles in, it's quite stable and it's more immune to me banging and just simple jerks and tugging on things. The feet seem to be working well, even though that area's got a slight bow in it. There's a lot of settling going on the floor. It's old, but in that area now, it seems to be fine. I'm not having any issues, so the problem is basically solved. So here's the look at the bench with the overhead camera on the system. And as I swing around, you can see that's it over there, and there's my confidence monitor over there. We'll get a look at that in a minute. But if you look at this little corridor where I am, a tripod is way more of a pain in the neck. Now I got to pull some more slack on that AC cord. So that tripod would take up all that room if it even fit. It really doesn't. It's a little tight in here. Well, you can see where I'm standing here. So it is a little bit tight. But it's pretty much centered over the bench. All right, let me get you out of here on this. So you might say, well, these are heavy cameras. Yeah, and I wanted to show you that, yes, those are heavy cameras, especially with this lens, with all of the caging. But real quick, I'll just pop this off. So this is a battery backup or battery booster. And so this comes off here. There's usually an extra screw, and it goes over here, but a lot of times I don't use that because you don't need it. It's very light. This is very light. And of course, that extra battery booster is here. So here's the battery pack in here. So it's double battery. But I also have the dummy battery that just hangs in here. And this one I just modified. You may not be able to see it, but there's a little crook I made in here. I opened it up a little bit more just so the cord can come out without ever being pinched. And you got a nice battery pack here. You don't get twice the power. What you do is you get a little bit more current and a little bit more run time. I want to say about 40% more run time. Quite a bit, actually, when I think about it. And then, of course, that's got a more of a standard prime lens on it-ish. It's got a little bit of zoom factor on it, which is nice. But I do want a better prime lens. And this is so lightweight, especially if you're putting the battery pack in here. This one just has the adapter in there. It's like a little extra shoe. So this will be in other videos. But it all goes back together very nicely. And you just kind of start screwing it together. And it pulls it right into the battery pack. Sometimes I just use it like this because what I like about this extra battery pack is, one, you get more battery power. Two, it's a nice grip. It does feel nice. And you can still put, I got a little light over here. So I do use the Neewer products. They're decent price. Some of them, this is some Amaran. And so this is for, it doesn't flash. This is for video work. Multiple brightnesses, doesn't change color, although I think at one point it did come with a lens, but I just use white because I have sodium lights in here for more of a natural lighting, and I'll tweak and attenuate that in edit. But I like it. It's nice. So this is kind of like what I have, just to show you if you're thinking, oh, it's a little heavy or whatever. Yeah, I can understand that. You might think that, but I don't really have any problems with it. Let me just throw this back on here so I don't lose it. I'm going to get a different cage as well for that camera. That's a half cage. I also want to get a full cage. The cages are nice because they protect it for general shop use. And of course, the cell phones, and eventually I do want to I'm getting my new cell phone, newer, it's used, but it's from a buddy. A couple years old, Samsung, $50 plus another video card. So that's coming soon. That'll be on this channel. These are the kind of things that, you save money where you can. Plus, like that old Big Mike gave me that nice old light, which he did put a bulb in it. I think it's similar to the brightness of the bulb that might have been there originally, but you could change out bulbs. Very cool to the touch. I showed in one of my other videos how I was able to grab it and put my hand on the aluminum casing, so they're very safe. Some of these things, you'd be surprised at some of the old technology. And of course, I'm older and I was around for a little bit of old technology. Plus, when I was in school and around other things too, you see all the old Fresnel lighting and everything. Some of it's just cool, right? So hopefully you guys got a kick out of this and found it useful, or at least inspiring to get you kind of to look around and see what might be out there and just have a kind of a neat project for the day, and that you can add it to your gear and use it for your YouTube channel, whatever it is you're doing. It might just be fun to have kicking around, or for some of you guys, I know you like to put this stuff as practicals in the background. But it's a practical in the background that you can actually use in the foreground. I'll see you guys on the next episode of AG-T&A.